John Benton, or Jack Alsop, was born on April 2nd, 1890, in Douglas County, Missouri. He was named after his father's uncle, also John Benton, or Jack Alsop. That older namesake would meet a tragic fate only 3 years later when, after drinking too much, he walked onto a frozen lake, fell through the ice, and drowned. Though other citizens rushed to help, the ice was too thin and dangerous to attempt a rescue. Jack was the first of 6 children born to John Alsop and Cynthia Burris Alsop. At the time of his birth, his father was 34 years old and his mother was 22. Jack's father had previously been married to Mary Eaton, with whom he had 5 children before their divorce in the late 1870s. Cynthia had also been married before. Her first husband's name is unknown, but she had one son with him named Robert Blankenship. When Cynthia and John were done raising their blended family together, they had a total of 12 children. In 1900, the census recorded Jack at about 10 years old, living in Douglas County with his parents and 5 siblings. His parents were farming for a living, and in their home, they also cared for Cynthia's 66-year-old mother. A decade later, Jack, then 19, was still on the farm. He was single, working alongside his father, and while records show he never attended school, he was able to read and write. Life appeared steady and uneventful until the outbreak of the First World War. On June 5th, 1917, at the age of 27, Jack completed his draft registration card. He was working at the time on the farm of John Owsley. His description noted a medium height, slender build, blue eyes, light-colored hair, and that he was already slightly bald. On his registration card, Jack also said he was single. By July of 1918, he had entered service as a private in Company A, the 70th Infantry, 10th Division, and he was sent to training camp at Camp Funston in Kansas. Only 2 months later, Jack's life came to an end. On October 7th, 1918, he passed away at Camp Funston from influenza. The earliest documented case of what became known as the Spanish flu had been reported earlier that year, in March, in nearby Haskell County, Kansas. Between 1918 and 1920, this global pandemic would claim an estimated 50 million lives worldwide. In the United States, the influenza epidemic took the lives of more American soldiers than any battle of the war. Jack's story parallels that of another young man from Douglas County, Otis Sims, who also succumbed to the flu while in military training. Otis passed away only 2 months after Jack. When I visited these 2 graves in separate cemeteries and cleaned them, I had no idea at the time that their lives and their deaths were bound by such a similar story. News of Jack's passing reached Douglas County within days, as newspapers reported that he and another local man, John Wallace, had both passed at Camp Funston. 10 days later, a second notice reported that Jack's body had arrived back from Kansas, and his family laid him to rest in Henderson Cemetery in Douglas County, Missouri. His story is one among countless lives lost during the war, not on the battlefield, but to the deadly pandemic that swept the globe. My family tree shows that Jack is my 11th cousin, 3 times removed. Thank you for watching. Rest in peace, Jack.